Is your team short of goals, a striking option, or even some squad depth? Well, fear no more, because here I have put a list together of 7 strikers that your team could sign this January. First up on the list, and it's Wout Weghorst. Now, if you haven't heard of him, well, he's got a stunning record out of Salzburg. In 2.5 years at the German club, he's got almost 1 goal every 2 games, and standing at 6'6" is one hell of a threat in the air as well. This season, he's got 10 goals and 1 assist in 15 games, and so much so that he's been linked with moves to the likes of Tottenham for around 35 to 40 million euros. At the moment, the Wolfsburg boss Jörg Schmeck has said that he doesn't want to let him go, but if in the winter transfer window a good offer does come in, they may have to reassess the situation. And for around 40 million euros, for a pretty good striker entering the prime years, he could be quite a good bargain. His contract also expires in 2023, so if they're to leave it a little bit longer, let's say to the summer, and then he enters the last 2 years, things start getting a little bit nervy. Of course, there's still plenty of time for Wolfsburg to go ahead and extend his contract, but if he keeps banging the goals in and keeps drawing interest from around the rest of Europe, they may have a hard time doing that. Next on the list, and someone who's the complete opposite of Wout Weghorst, because it's a speedy, direct attacking player in the shape of Donyell Malen. The former Arsenal and Ajax youth player is now at PSV, where he is banging in the goals, but unfortunately for any team that wants to sign him, he may cost a lot of money. Not only has he hit double figures in the league in the last 2 seasons for PSV, including 1 season with a rather long-term injury, he's also just 22 years old. He's also got a contract until 2024, and he's also represented by Mino Raiola. Oh my word, if there's any person that's difficult to deal with when it comes to transfers, he is the one. Having said that, I do believe that any astronomical fee paid to a Dutch club, unless it's Ajax, is kind of out of the question. I'm not sure that PSV, with their finances, will be able to hold out for a ridiculous amount of money. Yes, Marlon might cost a lot, but at his current age and what he's doing at the moment, he could certainly go on to be an absolute world beater. He's definitely got the skill set, it's whether or not he's got the consistency to match. He has been linked with the likes of Dortmund in the past, assuming that they were going to be selling Jadon Sancho. Not only because of Raiola representing Haaland as well, so the connection with the club are quite good, but also because if they're to lose Sancho, it'd be good to have a pacey, attacking player, and Donyell Malen's also been known to play out wide as well. As he moves further on in his career, it's clear that he's going to play straight through the middle, but even as a partner to Haaland, he could actually be a pretty good fit at Dortmund. Next up, and in 3.5 years in Scotland, Alfredo Morelos has got 87 goals in 165 games for Rangers. And before you throw the, oh, it's just the Scottish League, Farmers League line at me, last season he scored 14 goals in 17 Europa League games for Steven Gerrard's side, proving that he can do it against a vast array of opposing quality. At the moment, the likes of Kemar Roofe and Jermaine Defoe are banging in the goals for Rangers, so it's not necessarily a given that Morelos will be in the starting lineup. Apparently, in last summer's transfer window, he was given an agreement with the chief executive at Rangers that he could leave the following summer should a team meet the valuation for the player. At the moment, it looks like, for all intents and purposes, that Morelos is going to be picking up a title medal with Rangers because they're doing so well in the league. But aside from this, if the 24-year-old Colombian was to leave the club, there is just one thing that may put off potential suitors, and that is his shocking disciplinary record. If you take away all of his aggression, you don't quite get the same player, but having said that, 35 yellows and 7 red cards in 3.5 years is utterly ridiculous. Having said that, there's still some teams out there who'll probably be able to take a gamble on him, hoping that with a few more years under his belt of experience and maturity, he'd age quite well and he'd maybe take the violence and the aggression out of his game. And once you've done that, maybe not necessarily the aggression, you're going to be left with a pretty damn good goal scorer for around 25 million euros. Next up, and it's the reason why Erling Haaland leaving RB Salzburg wasn't actually devastating for the club, and that is the Zambian Patson Daka. The forward, likened to Aubameyang, hit an impressive 24 goals in 31 games in the Austrian Bundesliga last season, and if Haaland's impact in one of the top 5 leagues in Europe is anything to go by, Daka has the ability to make the step up. On top of that, Salzburg are of course known for having developed some of the top players in the world right now, including Haaland and also Sadio Mane, and with Leipzig not really in the hunt for a striker, Daka is free for everyone else to fight over. This season, he's got 10 goals in 14 games in the Austrian Bundesliga, and as with many strikers on this list, is currently being linked with West Ham. The reason being, not only have they just sold Sebastian Haller to Ajax and in need of a new striker up top, but former West Ham forward Freddie Canute, the Malian international, is also Patson Daka's agent, so you can see a few links with the club and maybe they'll be able to get a deal over the line. Next up, a handful of loans really did this player's confidence the world of good after a poor spell at Newcastle, which only saw a handful of appearances. And even though he just signed for Brentford last summer from Peterborough, Toney would definitely be well worth a punt for most struggling Premier League sides. They need a goal scorer. Ollie Watkins has proven that they can make the step up, and Toney's record is absolutely astonishing. 5 or 6 years ago, as I mentioned, he made just a few appearances for Newcastle, but after some loans, he went to Peterborough for 2 years, where he hit 40 in 76 games and then made the step up to the Championship, and he's got 16 in 22 this season. Yes, it may be a little bit early in the season to go ahead and sign him after just a few months at Brentford, but stranger things have happened in the transfer window. Next up, and coming from Liga and Stade Reims, and it's Boulaye Dia, the Senegalese international who's hit 14 goals in 17 games so far this season, and all of his attributes would make him a perfect replacement, yet again, for Sebastian Haller at West Ham. He's big, he's powerful, he's a clinical finisher, and he's got the speed to run in behind, and it's everything that West Ham actually failed to bring out in Sebastian Haller, but hopefully they'll be able to do it differently when it comes to signing Dia. At the moment, he has said that he is focused on the club because every footballer has to pedal that line when they're linked with a move, but he's also hasn't distanced himself from a move away from the team. At the moment, because of the dire financial straits that most Liga clubs are in, apart from PSG, of course, he could be available for as little as £10 million. He was also linked with Mikel Arteta's Arsenal side, although I think those rumours have kind of cooled for the minute. As I mentioned before, with 12 goals in 17 games this season, and with Stade Reims languishing in mid-table, he's actually doing pretty well for quite a poor side. And lastly on the list is Mariano Diaz. Funnily enough, a few days ago when I originally wrote this script, I had Luka Jovic on here, but now he has seen a loan move back to Frankfurt, where he came from, so maybe Mariano Diaz is actually going to be the only backup to Karim Benzema at Real Madrid. Having said that though, since he rejoined the team from Lyon, where he had a pretty good impression in Liga, he really has failed to get on the pitch for any sort of form. At the moment, it just kind of looks like Real Madrid are almost taking advantage of his loyalty towards the club. Like, they let him go. He had a brilliant season at Lyon and showed what a brilliant striker he is, with 18 goals in the season. And then Real Madrid just came calling, do you want to come back? Play back up to Benzema again, which is obviously the reason he left in the first place. And he said yes, so now he's just happy to sit on the bench. It's not doing so well for his career, and if he can go to a team where he's going to be guaranteed playing, you'll probably see the Mariano Diaz that we saw at Lyon. So there you have it, 7 potential striking options for your club in the January transfer window and beyond. Let us know which one you think your team should sign in the comments, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.